Hello, 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 and welcome to the BFA Baby podcast. My name is Taylor Hartman, and hello if you are watching the video version on YouTube. A little bit of a different framing today, and I think I like this a lot better, so this is probably what we'll stick with today. Just a heads up, there's a little bit of some technical difficulties in the studio today, so this audio might not sound as great, but we're still here and we're still going to have a great time at the podcast. Today's episode is going to be all about teaching and choreography. Teaching at a local dance studio is something that a lot of dance majors, BFA dance majors, will do to make money while in school, and I work a lot, so I thought it would be a perfect thing to talk about because I'm kind of the poster child for working while in school. But first, I have been seeing these TikToks of people on podcasts making up slogans, like phrases that don't exist that we should start putting into the common vernacular. And I thought I would write some. I have 3. One of them I use in my vernacular, but I think it should catch on. And then 2 are dance themed. I thought I would write for the pod. So the first one is "Let's pull a rock star." And "Let's pull a rock star" is used when you and someone else are going to drive separately to an event, right? Okay? So let's say we're going out to dinner, me and my roommate. Let's be like, "Caroline, let's pull a rock star tonight. I have to leave early. Let's drive separately." This comes from the notion that in the 70s and 80s, and I bet this still happens now, really famous rock bands would travel separately in the instance that what if the plane crashes and the whole band doesn't go down together, you can keep the band alive still. So when you want to travel separately but end up at the same location, let's pull a rock star. I'm going to use that in a sentence for you real quick. I gotta leave to get gas before rehearsal, so let's pull a rock star tomorrow, but on Tuesday we can ride together. Alright, and then I wrote 2 special ones for the podcast. The first one is, "Life is a paw, not a variation," and this came to me in a dream. And basically, life is a paw, we can work together, we can dance together, learn from each other. Not a variation. It is not all solo. We can do what we please, but life is better as a paw, and life should be a paw, not a variation. And then lastly, this one's right on the nose, it's really nothing special, but Romeo and Juliet wasn't choreographed in a day. A little joke on Rome wasn't built in a day, but Romeo and Juliet wasn't choreographed in a day, especially that balcony scene, that put a lot of love and effort into it. But yeah, so that's a fun little start to the pod today, and I think that we should just go ahead and get started. Today we will be talking about, like I said, teaching and choreography, a little bit of both. This one's kind of off the top of the head, a little scatterbrained today, but I'm feeling good about it. So let's, I guess, just start with my history of teaching, and then we'll kind of talk about working in college. So at the studio that I grew up in, we had all different kinds of levels of classes throughout the evening, and I would be there all night, right? And I started, when I would get to the studio early, I'd start helping out with the baby ballet classes, because they're a lot to handle, especially when they're so little. So I would assist with the baby ballet, and then I slowly worked up, and I would start assisting with ballet 1, ballet 2, point, And I was always just assisting until my junior, sorry guys, it's hot in the studio. I was always assisting until my junior and senior year when I started kind of getting a bigger role with my assisting. I was still assisting, I wasn't getting paid, but Annie, if you're listening, hi Annie, was one of my mentors towards the end of my dance career back home. My career's still going on, but my career back home. And she really gave me the freedom to kind of take the reins and figure out my teaching style and how I operate in a classroom up at the front. So that was a really good learning experience for me. I had a senior teacher with me who knew everything about what she was doing, but I was able to kind of flesh out what I did and didn't like, how I liked class to operate, everything. So I feel like that was a really good learning opportunity for me. So then when I came to college, I felt very confident pulling up to studios and being like, are you hiring? I'm a teacher. I can do this and this and this and this and this. So yeah, I wanted to start working right away. If you know me in real life, you know that I am incredibly stir crazy, I think is the best way to put it. I really do, I like to be doing a lot and working a lot at all times. So I wanted to start working, making money, wanted to, whatever, right away. So the summer before I left for school, I was, I spent like a whole day and I was like researching a bunch of different studios to come to. And, I had interviews at some. People were like, do you want an assisting gig? And I was like, no, because I knew that I brought a lot to the table and I could handle teaching full classes myself. I had all this experience, whether it was paid, it was never paid back home, but I had a lot of experience. I was kind of working double time as a young teenager up till I graduated, both dancing, assisting, and teaching. Like, I was doing everything. I had a lot of experience. I felt clean and confident to do it, So it wasn't until I came across the studio I work at now, Divinity Dance Academy, that I was truly trusted with taking on a class of my own as, a fresh adult, we should say, a baby adult, as my roommate and I would say. And I really appreciate the courage that Christy, the owner of the studio, took to hire me on, because it's probably very scary to hire on a youngin, but but I think that I was up for the challenge and I was ready to go. So I definitely was like very, very thankful for that opportunity, and I worked. And I still work there. I love it. I just got back from there from teaching in the mornings. But my first semester, I taught tap on Mondays. And then on Wednesdays, did I teach anything else? No, I think I was just there Monday and Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, I taught ballet and point. I taught the highest ballet class and point. And then the second semester, I added on a creative movement class, which I teach now and I love it. I kind of talked about it in last week's episode. But creative movement is like a parent and me, mommy and me type thing. So, getting little toddlers excited about music and art and spatial awareness and crossing the midline and all of the fun, body awareness stuff. We added creative movement on second semester. I would sub here and there. And it was just all really exciting. We'll kind of touch on like my pieces more when we get to the choreography section. But this year, I am teaching a lot more, and I am so happy to be doing so. I teach some homeschooling classes, as well as I teach tap. I teach 2 levels of ballet. I guess 3 if you count my homeschooling classes are baby hip-hop, 3 to 5-year-olds, and 3 to 5-year-old ballet, like intro to ballet. And then I teach tap. I teach ballet 1. I teach ballet, the highest ballet, and then point. All very exciting things. I love my job, so it's really great to, have a job that you like going to that also benefits what you want to do for a living in the future, beyond just supporting your education. Yeah, so I thought that before we jump into the choreography section, because that kind of ties back into like what I do on campus, I think I want to talk about something that it took me a long time to learn, which is work-life balance. And like, no shit. Like, everyone says, like, work-life balance is so important. Work-life balance it is. I'm here to tell you that it is. But especially when you're in such a physically demanding major career path as dancing. I think what a lot of people don't understand about performance majors, specifically dance majors, is that we don't have a lot of written homework. But all of our classes are incredibly physical and emotional. It's a lot of emotional homework. It's a lot of physical work. We are working out for our degree, and not only are we working out by dancing, by acting, by choreography learning, by staging, like all this crazy stuff that we have to do, but we also have to legitimately work out and go cross-train to support our bodies in all the labor that we're making them do. You know, so we're working out, like, my sister and my roommate and I, like, calculate, like, I was working out, like, 38 something hours a week. Like, that's a full-time job, you know? So we don't write a bunch of papers. I mean, we do write papers, but, I mean, you know, but it's so physical. And I think the biggest thing about having a physical major and, in turn, a physical job with your heart and eyes set forward on a physical career path, the biggest thing is that you need to have that balance, whereas you can separate, you can tell your body, like, hey, we need to slow down, we need to take a break, yada, 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 you know, the whole gig. So, I think the biggest thing is finding when to slow down, and also finding what is good for your body. I'm still working on this, but I think that this is the first time in my life that I have very well found what my body responds nice to, what workouts my body likes, what workouts it doesn't, what helps me to kind of take care of myself and be able to perform at my best, my highest capacity at all times, you know. And I've tried things here and there, and, you know, I'm finally in a routine that I really like, and something that I am planning on making a TikTok about later, but I'll talk about it here on the podcast. Something about my routine that I started this year, like very recently, that has become very important to me is my hair care. You know, my hair was never unhealthy. You know, I don't color my hair, I don't bleach it, I very rarely do put heat on it. But I was realizing my hair is up 95% of the time. It's whether it's up because I'm working out, because I'm dancing, I'm in a show, I'm, you know, taking photos, I'm at a costume fitting and they want my hair out of the way, you know. Like, my hair is up more than not. Like, way more than not. And I'm thinking about the product buildup, the hairspray, the gel, like everything. And that damage is obviously not good. And I kind of fell down a rabbit hole. Did fall down a rabbit hole on YouTube. And it was these, like, ex-dancers, might have been cheerleaders, ex-cheerleaders or ex-dancers that went to beauty school and are, like, now certified cosmetologists, clinicians, whatever you want to call it. And they were like, we specifically work with performers to get their hair back to being healthy and staying healthy long term. And it wasn't something I really ever thought about until I saw these videos. And I was like, oh, that's probably, like, a really valid point. Like, I put not only my body, but, like, my hair and my skin through the ringer as well. And I'm lucky to have pretty good skin. You know, I take care of it, but nothing super major. And I've kind of had a skincare routine that I like for, like, years now. But it was this semester that I was like, I need to focus on taking care of my hair. If I take care of my body and my skin so well, why am I not taking care of my hair? And it's not for everyone, but I really find a sense of serenity in it. You know, I have the oils that I put in my mids and ends every day. I have my hair mask routine, my scalp oil. I have, like, a new shower routine. Like, it's finding ways to spice up your life in ways that will benefit you long term. You know, it's comforting knowing that tomorrow morning I'm gonna wake up and do the whole scalp oil, the mask, and then I'm going to, you know, go about my day, take a shower a couple hours later, and then, you know, just go live life. And it's something as simple as buying an $8 bottle of rosemary oil for your hair, and it just makes you feel so much more confident, so much more relaxed. I love the smell of it. Some people don't. I was reading reviews and they were like, the smell is gross. And I was like, well, we're going to take the risk. I really like it. But it's like little things that make you comfortable and make you happy. And I think, like, that's a very underrated part of work-life balance, is your self-care routine. Because if you're not working, you need to be taking care of yourself so that you can continue to work. And obviously hair is a very superficial thing. Like, it's hair, you know. But that routine I really like it because, you know, it's beneficial to me. It makes me happy, wakes me up in the morning. But it also is a great way for me to feel beautiful, for me to be like, I am actively putting time in to take care of myself, and like kind of good stuff like that. And something else that kind of leans into with being so physical both in school and at work is recovery. You know, you don't think about it a lot, but like even teaching is a workout. Especially if you're teaching littles, you're doing the whole class with them. Which is like, I mean, no shade to the littles, dude. I love teaching my little babies. But, yeah, like, you're doing the whole class with them. You're doing every single run of the dance with them. You're doing every single warm-up. Like, you're basically just taking extra classes. Again, we're working out like 48 plus hours a week, you know? So, the recovery from that has been a really big deal for me, too. Obviously, starting oh, the lighting just got kind of dark. That's kind of moody. Let me fix that. Hello? Oh. Okay, well. Anyways, the studio, it's been a ride getting here on the podcast today, guys. But, yeah, so the recovery, you know, that really started my freshman year when I started dancing so much, and I was working so much, and I was rehearsing so much, like, grinding. And I slowly started to learn what I did and didn't like. It took some sciatica pain to kind of figure that out. But after, you know, healing, getting through that, some rib pain, you know, we got that all figured out. I was able to be like, okay, this is how I need to warm up. This is how I need to cool down. This is how I need to prepare for a workout. This is how I need to cool down after a workout. This is what feels good to eat or drink or not eat or drink before a workout or class or rehearsal or whatever. And something big about recovery that I take incredibly seriously is sleep. I take sleep so seriously. Like, my friends know, I have a bedtime that I stick to as much as possible. I mean, there's a few nights a week where, like, rehearsals will go late or, like, certain times, you know, if we're out doing something fun, you know, but I am very serious about my bedtime, and that is something that I take seriously because I know that if I do not have a full night of sleep, and I do think that I am someone that needs more sleep than other people, but if I do not get as much sleep as I know that I need, my body doesn't like doing anything. You know, like, I know that I need a lot of sleep, and I know that about myself. Like, that's been my reality for, like, ever. But, it's been really beneficial to be like, hey, if we go out, I'm gonna leave. Like, I need to go to sleep. I have a work tomorrow morning. I have a big class tomorrow. I have a midterm dance tomorrow morning, you know? And, like, really just sticking to it and not being, embarrassed is, like, not even the right word, but not being ashamed about it. Like, if I'm at a function and I know that I want to take a long shower and then go to bed early, I'm gonna leave the function early, and I'm not gonna feel bad about it, you know? So I think going to sleep is really important for your recovery, especially when you're doing so much, and also so much emotional work. Like, sleep is a great time for your brain to kind of, like, repair itself, bring it back together, you know. So sleep is very important. And I have also, when I was in high school, a problem isn't the right word, but I had a habit of, if I was really, really, really anxious or, like, stressed or blah, 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 sore from a class, whatever, because I would get home so late and have to be up so early, I would just, like, Advil PM, Tylenol PM, whatever, and then just pass out. You know what I mean? Like, I would, instead of staying up a little later to roll out, to ice bath, to heat, to whatever, and then falling asleep and waking up naturally, I would kind of force my body down and then abruptly wake it up with medicine. And not that I still don't do that, but I definitely don't do it as much as I used to. I think really late high school, when I was really grinding to get graduated, I would just kind of do it to sleep. But now it's like, I have a headache, I have a sore throat, you know, like, medicine as medicine rather than medicine as sleep. You know, medicine can aid in recovery, but medicine is not your full recovery. And that is something that I've really started doing in college. And I think that I am better because of it. I wasn't ever, like, severely addicted or anything. But, you know, it was something that I did, and looking back, I'm not proud of. But I do now more responsibly use my good old Advil PM if I'm sick or if I'm, like, really sore and I've done everything to, like, roll out, letting it cool down, and I'm still just like, ugh. Then maybe if I, like, really need to get some sleep. But, you know, a little more sparingly nowadays. And then something I'm going to promote on the podcast, even though I am not a doctor. Oh my gosh, please. Red flashing lights. This is where we flash lights on the video version. I am not a doctor. This is just what works for me. Everybody is different. Every person is different. Just because it works for me doesn't mean it might not work for you. But, you know, it could be, I'm not here to give advice, but I'm just here to tell you what works for me. Okay, that's the medical disclaimer out of the way. But, something I also really liked that I started this summer was drinking a glass of tart cherry juice before bed. I remember reading about it. There was like I don't know if she was like a PNB or like a New York City ballet ballerina. Someone in a Balanchine focused company was raving about drinking tart cherry juice after a show. Because it has that like natural melatonin in it, yada yada yada. And it kind of eases you off that adrenaline. And that's kind of my least favorite thing about performing. And ooh, we should do like a performance episode on the podcast. That could be fun. But my least favorite thing about performing is the adrenaline crash. Because it's so, it's just so everything. We're going to write that down. We're going to put a performance episode on the podcast because I have so much to say about it. But that adrenaline crash kills. And I'm literally writing it down right now. Hold on. Performance. And that adrenaline crash kills. And I think that's when you just kind of need to ease yourself down. Ease yourself to sleep. If you can start weaning off the adrenaline, but not stay up enough. Don't let it keep you up late enough to where you fully feel that crash. I think that's super beneficial. So I was like, dude, that makes so much sense. Like, I didn't perform this summer. I was like, I'm not performing right now, but like, let's try it, you know? And I would drink a glass every night before bed, and I would just very easily like coast off to sleep, and I loved it. So I do that now every night too. Just kind of an easy little coast, a little chill down. You know, there's something pretty about it. You know, I did my hair care, I rolled out, I like hot shower, ice bathed, whatever. And now I'm just kind of chilling, drinking my little tart cherry juice. I'm gonna brush my teeth and go to bed. Like, it's very calming. I'm very big into a good night routine. Very big into a night routine, especially after a long, long day. So, what was I even talking about? Work-life balance. That's how we got here. So I think that having a good self-care routine is a really good part of work-life balance, especially because, you know, you're indulging in yourself, you're taking care of yourself. It's a great way to thank your body for all the hard work that it does for you, especially in such a physical major and job. So yeah, work-life balance, self-care is a great big part of that. And also like doing things. Like, that sounds so obvious, but like, I am working a workshop at Divinity on Sunday, but that didn't stop me from Saturday night. I'm going to the Taylor Swift Eras Tour movie. You know what I mean? Well, this will be after. By the time this comes out, this will have already happened. I'm filming this on a Thursday? And this will come out in like 6 days. So by the time you hear this, this has already happened. But, yeah, like, I know that I'm working in the afternoon on Sunday, and it's going to be laborious and, you know, tiring. But I was like, I'm not going to let that stop me from going and doing something I really want to do. So I think past me definitely would have done that. Like, there was totally times last year that I was like, oh, I have rehearsal. You know, I'm not going to do anything. And that's fine. Like, if you don't want to do anything, don't say yes to things that you don't want to do. But also, if there is something you really want to do, don't be afraid to do it just because you have a commitment the next day, or a commitment later in the day, or a commitment earlier in the day. You know, like, just take advantage of doing stuff. And it sounds so silly, but, like, don't let your work become your life. Reach out and start picking up more things, do more things. Going out to dinner with a friend tonight. Shout out Maddie. I know you're listening to the podcast, Maddie. I'm trying to turn Maddie into a podcast girly. We're going out to dinner tonight, even though I have stuff to do tomorrow and stuff to do on Saturday. Like, just take opportunities between rehearsals, between work. Like, we're rehearsing and working and doing all the things, but find time to just hang out with the pals, Find time to go see a show. Find time to go do fun stuff. And just relax, Self-care is a really big part of it, but don't be afraid to go do fun stuff. Obviously, yes, take your sleep seriously. I will be taking my sleep seriously, but stay out a little late every now and again. Obviously, don't be out till 3 a.m. if you have class at 8, but, like, have fun. Have some fun before you die, like I said in last week's episode. So, yeah, work-life balance. Have a good self-care routine. It makes you feel good about yourself, makes you feel beautiful. And also, just do stuff that you want to do. Work is important. School is important. Education is important. I take my education very seriously. As if you can't tell, I literally started a podcast about my education. I take my education very seriously, but with the caveat that I always think about it as there are still women in this world who do not have the right to an education, let alone the right to a creative education, an education in the arts, and to do that professionally. Like, I know that I am very privileged to be able to be doing this professionally as a woman, as my job, creativity. So I take my education very seriously because not a lot of women have the same opportunities that I do. However, that doesn't mean I have to let it become my life, and I did kind of fall into that last year, especially in the spring semester. I was taking so many classes and I was working so much, and I kind of just stopped having any relationship with people ever. Like, I had friends that, like, I hadn't talked to in months, and then I went home for the summer and I was like, oh my god, like, I haven't talked to anyone. So I think finding time, see your friends, do fun stuff, eat some good food, take some self-care, anything you can ease into your work routine to kind of build up that balance. Journaling is also very good. I'm becoming a bullet journal girly. I think I'm also going to make a TikTok about that at the end of the month. My first month is a bullet journal girly as a BFA dance major, because my bullet journal is very skewed towards performance. So I'm very excited about that. But yeah, finding little ways to incorporate self-care, incorporate life into that work balance. Because a lot of us creative performance majors do work. Because the dream is obviously save up big money while you're here, pay off your education, and then run away to the big city, after school. So financial is always a big thing, but it's also like, okay, we're going to work hard, and we're going to gain experience, and we're going to make money, and we're going to learn. Learning is always the big thing. But finding ways to have fun, finding ways to have self-care, and also, like I said last week, things that are fun to you don't have to be fun to everyone else. You know what I mean? Like, there are BFA parties, and I'm not a big partier, so I don't really go to those. But, like, I'll have a movie night and a game night with the friends. We'll go out to dinner after class or, like, before rehearsal, like, little things. Like, find things that speak to you, that make you feel good, make you feel balanced, and just take those and run with them. A lot of what I said last week in the 10 Things I Would Tell My High School Self podcast, a lot of that comes into work-life balance, because high school Taylor had no work-life balance. And I think this semester is the first semester that I'm really, like, feeling good about it. So before I talk about choreography, there was a new addition to my teaching career last year, second semester. Well, kind of end of first semester, and over winter break was when it, like, got solidified. But I became a certified Zumba dance fitness instructor, and this came after taking a Zumba class and realizing that there's so many people who love to dance. Like, okay, that sounds, obviously, people like to dance. But, I grew up around people who did, like, this is the career. Like, I am here to make this my career. But then I'm like, dude, it's fun. Like, and I realized that Zumba is a great way to, like, bring people in and they can dance with their friends. Dancing and music and movement is so good on your body, so good on your mind. You know, we just talked about this in one of our Wellness Week seminars yesterday. But, you know, I just had a really good time learning this. You know, and there's a whole science behind it. It's very interesting. But then I was like, this is great for college students. I mean, college students already go dancing. They have little dance parties in their room and stuff. And why not bring your friends, get a good sweat in, listen to some good music, and then just dance. It's a great workout. It's social. It's fun. Anyone can do it. And I was like, I feel passionate about this. I'm bringing my love of dance to the greater community. So I started teaching Zumba at the Foster Recreation Center here on campus. And I taught once a week last semester, and then this semester I'm teaching twice a week. And the connections I've made through that have been so fun. Like, and it's been really fun to see all the different majors that come in dance and love it. You know, one of my favorite students, Sydney, she is a grad student here at Missouri State, and she is a speech pathology grad student. And we have nursing majors, we have ag majors, English, like any major you can think of is represented in my Zumba class, which I love. And it's like bringing my love and passion for dance and seeing it in other people's faces. Like, it's fun. Dance does not have to be so serious all the time. You know, it doesn't always have to be about art and life and death and blah, blah, blah. You know, it can just be a fun way to move your body and love on your body and thank your body. And it's just been amazing. And even we have like MSU staff come. Joy, if you're listening to the podcast, hey. Joy is she works in the accounting department here at Missouri State, and she's also a certified Zumba instructor. So being able to connect across majors, across departments, across like age gaps, even like adults come, kids come. We had one for Parents Weekend. You know, it's a lot of fun, and I think that it was a really good addition to my teaching, whereas I can extend my love for dance onto people who've never danced before. And it's like it's really refreshing to not be taken so seriously all the time. Like, we can shake our hips and we can shimmy some shoulders and like swing some booty in a studio at the rec center and just have a good time. Listen to our favorite music, jam out, we can laugh, we can dance, we can make new friends, and just have a good time. That's like the best part about Zumba for me. Is one, it also made me a better, one, it's fun, and two, it made me a better teacher. You know, I kind of found out my teaching style, what I liked as I was growing up, as I was going to high school, yada, yada, yada. And being able to teach a totally different style, you know, I had to learn. And then with new people coming into classes every week, I'm very quickly learning that, like, I mean, obviously people respond to things differently. Some people are visual learners. Some people are, you know, like, say it, like, audio learners. Like, we're going to go to the right now, you know. And I think that teaching Zumba has been a really great opportunity because not only is it a fun way to get some fitness cardio in, but it's a great way to, for me, to learn some new teaching styles. You know, like, I made it a big thing when we have some new friends come into class, we have new students, you know, I'm always like, okay, do you learn better visually or like audio? And, you know, because then I'll kind of change up my cues, you know, I'll point if we're going, or I'll shout like right, or like lead right, lead left, you know, whatever. And it's made me a more aware teacher. I'm very much a creature of habit. If I like a routine, then I will be in the routine. Like, I will stick to that routine. It's just what it is. And I think that learning a new skill and starting a new class was very important to me because it's kind of forced me to break out of that routine and learn more and gather more information. I've become a more observant teacher. And it's really helped me learn that students change from day to day. And I think it wasn't something I realized until I became a teacher, but you know, how you learn and how you operate changes. And looking back, I see that in myself. Like, when I'm still a student, but like when I was exclusively a student and not just a teacher. But, you know, students need different things from you every day, and it's okay to give and take different things from each other. You know what I mean? Like, so Zumba has made me a better ballet teacher, a better tap teacher, and it's also just made me a more passionate dancer. I love seeing friends come together and dance. I love seeing people make new friends. Dancing is such a big community thing, and I love being able to start that community on my college campus. It's so much fun. So yeah, teaching is a really big part of my life. It's how I make my money. I have a really good time doing it. It's very beneficial to my career and my future. But something else that, well, kind of comes with teaching, but also comes with my education at Missouri State is choreography. And I have always been interested in choreography. When I was in like early high school, right before COVID, I had this whole dance choreographed for my fellow students. It was going to be like a student piece. COVID happened, it didn't really work out, yada, yada, yada. But choreography has always been something that I was really drawn to, and I was like, dude, I think I could do that. I choreographed some dances for plays in high school. I choreographed, little solos for myself, little ditties for my friends, and I always worked with Emmy Williamson, and she was my solo choreographer for so many years, and she has a very collaborative approach to creativity, to solos, to dancing, to choreography. And my favorite part about solo rehearsals with her was that she would just kind of give me the skeleton, and then if I was like, I think it could be like this, and then if it didn't really work out, we would kind of work together, collaborate. And that was really the start of my choreography journey that I'm still on, and I'm still very new to it. But that collaborative art process with Emmy and rehearsals was always so amazing and refreshing, and I loved being a part of it. Even today, she still is like super supportive of all my crazy artistic ideas. Emmy sees the dream at all times, and I love her for it. But yeah, so that was kind of where my creative process started, like giving input on my solos, doing little ditties for high school, stuff like that. And then when I came to college and I was teaching, I was like, okay, word, like I just get to choreograph, love it. Divinity has 2 recitals. We have a Christmas recital and then a spring recital. So that's like 2 dances per class every season, and I love it. I love having, there's some parameters with Christmas. It's holiday music, it's wintry, it's fun, it's pretty. And then spring is just kind of like, go for it. And I love the creative expression that choreography gives me. Last year my ballet class did an Alice in Wonderland piece. They were all different characters. There was props. It was very theatrical. And then my point dance, some of the same girls, actually they were all like both, you know what I mean? Like it was the same girls. They did a very feminine, a very elegant, gorgeous, strong, powerful point dance to an orchestral cut of Roxanne from Moulin Rouge, El Tango de Roxanne. The Tango of Roxanne. Great song. It was by the, oh no, who was that? It was by the Orchestra Quartet. Let me look it up, but I'll keep talking while I do that. So, El Tango de Roxanne instrumental. Here it is. It was the cut by the Prague Cello Quartet, and you need to go listen to it because it is beautiful. But that was a very big switch. They went from being very theatrical to being very strong and powerful and feminine, and it's gorgeous. And I really use my older students to teach the fact that, ballet doesn't have to be all princesses and tutus and pink and sparkly, and it can be, and that's fun, but ballet can also be strong and powerful and have a message, and that's something I really wanted to lean into this year, whereas my ballet girls for Christmas are doing Hallelujah by Pentatonics, and I'll talk about the vibes behind that in a second, but their spring dance, which we haven't started yet, but we will, it is to There'd Better Be a Mirror Ball by Arctic Monkeys, which is not a song you would think you'd put a ballet dance to, but I was very passionate about, like, we need to grow as an industry, we need to break the mold. And if that starts at a small studio in Nixon, Missouri, that's where it starts. This Arctic Monkeys piece, like, came to me. I heard the song and I was like, dude, like, I feel spoken to. And as I listened to it, as I dissected it, as, you know, I was living and loving and learning as I am, I realized that this song it's slow and it's beautiful and it's gut-wrenching and there's emotion behind it, and it felt very celebrity to me in a way that we kind of mourn for celebrities in a way. You know, you hear about, once again, going back to Dear Hollywood by Alison Stoner, but you hear about, you know, child stars and all the crazy things they get into, and even adult stars and all the crazy things they get into, you know, because they never were able to express themselves fully without judgment. And this song to me felt very longing. It felt very performative, you know, like, is this person only with me because of my status? Do I open up to them? Like, how it touched me really closely. Ooh, I'm always kicking my mic for real, but it touched me really closely because I am so bad at meeting new people. Like, I'm so bad at it. And, you know, when I was younger, I really thought that the only way that I could get people to like me was if I danced really well for them. You know, and no one ever really made me feel that way. It's just kind of something that was kind of internal to me. But, yeah, no, my biggest thing was, like, all I know how to do is dance, and that's what people know me and love me for. So, like, what am I going to do if I can't dance for them? You know, and this song felt very similar to that. It felt very, you know, I'll walk you to the car, but I'll have a heavy heart. You know, I am totally available to be seen out doing life with you, but I will be sad because you're getting roped into the world that I live in, which is crazy and scary. And every time I see that line or hear that line, I think about there's a photo of Rami Malek and Lucy Boynton, and they're like walking out, like gripping each other's hands, but they're like looking down all over, you know, getting rid of the paparazzi. If you're watching the video version, I will put the photo up here. But, you know, like, I'll walk you to the car, but I'll have a heavy heart that you're getting roped into this, like I am, and I don't want to put someone else in that position, you know. Can we please be absolutely sure that there'd be a mirror ball? You know, can we please be absolutely sure that there's a spot for me on the floor with lights and something beautiful and performative? Can we please be absolutely sure that there will be a time that I can show you what I am good at? And it's kind of falls into the rope of performers really thinking that they are bound to their performance and their worth is tied to their performance. And dude, I gotta make a performance episode. It's all going everywhere. But yeah, so there'd better be a mirror ball. It kind of became celebrity really in my brain. And if you know me, you know I love Hollywood. I love a good celebrity moment. I love like humanizing celebrities. That's kind of a big thing that I hold myself to. But so I wanted this piece to be kind of a feminist celebrity commentary, whereas, you know, if you look at, let's take Prince, for example. Love Prince. If you look at Prince in an interview, if you took someone who had no idea who Prince was and played an interview that Prince was doing, your thought would be, that's an arrogant dude. That's an arrogant dude. But then if you know Prince, you know that it's a character. It's an extension of himself. It comes off as arrogant, but it's confidence. And he has the right, air quotes if you're not watching the video, quote unquote, has the right to act like that and put on that persona because he can hold up to it. You know, he puts on these beautiful shows, and Angie Black, one of our professors here at the university, always says that it's not arrogance if you can pull it off. So when Baryshnikov would walk into a studio in his street clothes and be like, I can throw 13 pirouettes in my street clothes, he wasn't being arrogant, he was being confident because he could do it. You know, so every time Prince is like talking about the albums or the tours, you know, it looks really cocky, but it's not. And I think we let male celebrities get away with that so often because they are so talented. But if a woman ever did that, she's a bitch. She's cocky. She's arrogant. she's she's totally not even down to earth, blah, 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 blah. Delusional, you know? And I think this brings me to Taylor Swift's The Man. What I was wearing if I was rude could all be separated from my good ideas and power moves. And, you know, if a woman does something confident or is hyping herself up, you know, I love to see women win. I really do. But, you know, if it's very public, it's like, that's a cocky woman. But if a man does it, not even just Prince, but he's a fantastic, I love Prince. No hate to Prince. He's a fantastic example. You know, it's cocky. And I wanted there to be that vulnerability between, I have to play this person all the time that I kind of am, but kind of am not. You know, like, I know that I can put on a great tour or whatever, but having to turn that confidence on for the cameras all the time is shaky and it's scary. And the juxtaposition between, when you meet people, do you show them what the public knows, or do you show them who you are without the smoke and the mirrors and the makeup and the costumes and the tours, you know? So There'd Better Be a Mirror Ball is kind of a big deal for me and my ballet students. And it's also a part of that thing where, like, ballet is more than just being in tutus, you know? These girls are going to be in button-downs and ties with a skirt. You know, so you still have that very masculine silhouette, but the little feminization. When am I not stumbling over my words on this podcast? The, like, little feminine touch of the skirt, you know, especially going back to The Man. You know, women have to masculinize themselves. They have to, you know, tough, put up a brave face just to be taken seriously with their male counterparts. So that's why the skirt is going to just be one of those, like, skirts that are, like, only in the back, you know? It's only if you're close enough to me to realize that I'm not just broad-shouldered and in a tie. You know, and if I'm going to explain it to them, but, you know, if they don't get it, then, you know, it's what it is. It means a lot to me, and I'm glad that my students are going to take on the challenge. It's going to be a difficult piece, but I'm excited about it. And for Christmas, they are, like I said, Hallelujah by Pentatonics, and they are talking about, they're not talking about, but the dance is about the traditional Roman Catholic sculptures. Like, if you go to Italy, the traditional Roman Catholic sculptures and the traditional Roman cathedrals, what happens after hours in those, you know? So they are like traditional nativity scene statues coming to life, and they're gonna dance, and then I edited in some, like, birds in the background of the song, you know? And so it's like, when the morning comes and the light is bleeding through those stained glass windows, we're leaving, and we're just gonna go back to being statues. But whatever your religious preference is, your religious book of text, whatever religious text is important to you, you know, you believe that that is real. And this is a commentary, I think, on, you know, there had to be an artist that created these statues, and there have to be people that believe and love on them to keep them up and keep them retained. But, you know, like, if you know me in real life, you know that I've struggled with kind of religion and where I stand on it, deconstruction, renouncement, the whole 9 yards, classic ex-Catholic stuff. But, you know, it's the idea of, okay, what if it's not real, but the artist has put themselves into the statue? What if the artist didn't even believe in it and they just wanted to get that bag, you know? So it's they're coming to life, whether they are the actual biblical figures or just statues. They're coming to life for the Christmas dance. And it's just a really beautiful dance. I mean, no one really has to know what it means to me. But when I was choreographing it, I was imagining the traditional Roman Catholic figures, like the saints and everything, coming to life. And then in the mornings, they go back to being statues. And obviously, you know, the audience isn't really going to know that much about the dance, but I like to put some little oomph behind my choreography. And wrapping up here, I want to talk about one of my favorite pieces of choreography that unfortunately kind of got shelved. It was called Cherry Wine, and this is like my biggest choreography feat, I think, to date. And I'm still very proud of it. I really hope to dust her off the shelf someday. But this was a not a suggestion, but a piece that was put up for, adjudication, thank you. Piece that was put up for adjudication to be entered into the Missouri State University Spring Dance Concert. So students can choreograph pieces and then cast students, and then we show the pieces for a panel of faculty, and then they decide what goes in the concert and everything. Unfortunately, Cherry Wine was not chosen for the concert, but, I have her locked up on a shelf. I hope to take her down someday, but I am very proud. My dancers were Kaylin Stiff and Aspen Tennyson, and they were both just so amazing and taking this really deep idea that I had and bringing it to life. And even though it wasn't chosen for the concert, I was so enamored with them and their hard work and dedication. It was a tough piece. And Cherry Wine was obviously to Cherry Wine by Hosier, and it followed the concept of domestic violence in traditionally religious spaces and being afraid to stand up against them because of the tradition and power that a partner holds in the religious space. Again, it was kind of like a lot of moody cathedrals and darkness, and kind of like it's a really beautiful thing on the outside, but we never know what's going on the inside. And one of my favorite things that was said to me when you choreograph a piece for potential selection, you have a faculty member come into one rehearsal before adjudication, and they will like give you some tips and tricks. And Sarah Wilcoxon came into mine, and we run the number, and she looks at me, and I kind of tell her about it, blah 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 blah, like this symbolizes this, yada yada yada, the whole arts thing. And she looks at me and she's like, "You've unfortunately made a movie." And it's true, because there was like a whole point in the beginning, then there was like a flashback, and it comes back to it at the end. I love Cherry Wine. I should really bring her back. But she said, "You've unfortunately made a movie." And she didn't mean it like rude or anything, and we actually all kind of had a good laugh about it. But I think of my dances as movies, as pieces of theater, as they're stories that come to life. Like if you were to open up a storybook, pop, and there was like a pop, that's those people are my dancers. And it kind of made me realize, like, yeah, I do really put a big emphasis on story in my dances. And Cherry Wine was great, and I loved it, and it also was an amazing learning experience for me, because I learned, like, I should not be afraid of my choreographic voice. I love a story, and I love visuals, and I want it to be like a think piece, and I don't want everyone to get it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want everyone in the audience to be like, that was about this, or that dance was about this, and everyone gets it immediately. It's not for everyone, And there was a lot of symbolism in that piece, and there was some improv sections. We worked together with the girls, and we all kind of made it our own. And I told them right off the bat, like, if what I think the piece is about doesn't speak to you, then it doesn't speak to you. I can tell you your character traits, but if you want to imagine a totally different scenario in which you would enact these character traits, like, go for it. You know what I mean? Dance, like art, doesn't have to mean the same thing to everyone, and I think that's the biggest thing, is I create for what I want, and if not everyone gets it, that's fine, but if people do get it, I really appreciate that. I do really appreciate when people get it, and there was a lot of symbolism. One of my favorite parts of the dance, oh my god, in Cherry Wine, towards the end, yeah, so sorry, I took a second to pull up the lyrics. There is a lyric that says, a little bit of the bridge. I'm all but washed in the tide of her breathing, and it's worth it, it's divine. And in that moment, we had Kaylin run up, like, toes on the edge of the stage, run up and kind of, oh, let me spread out if I'm on the video, kind of like crucifix herself out and fall back. And to, you know, just a viewer, that's just a little trust fall moment, you know. But for us, we really wanted it to be like a crucifix imagery. We had the ankles crossed, like Susu right up at the edge of the stage. And then she falls, and then Aspen, Aspen was so good at this part. Aspen, like, tossed her up and, like, caught her forward. So then her, like, back was forward, but she was still, like, crucifixed out. Like, that was, like, the bearing, the cross, like, crawling your way down just to get pushed down and hit again. You know, there was a lot of stage fighting. And, yeah, dude, Cherry Wine was such a big moment for me. It was my first collegiate piece. It was my first piece, you know, that really dug into my deconstruction. It was my first piece that really had friends in, you know, like I wasn't also in it, you know what I mean? Like I was choreographing it on my friends, which was so fun. You know, my faculty members got to see it, and I felt very proud of myself, especially as a young student, that I got to do this piece, and I'm very happy with it. I do hope maybe one day I'll recast it and clean it up and we'll like film it or something, you know. But Cherry Wine was a really big point for me, and I think that was a really big turning point where I was like, okay, I can use choreography as an extension of myself, an extension of my thoughts, an extension of my heart, and we can work together to like bring it to life. But at the end of the day, there will always be a little piece of it that is mine, and I think that that's really gorgeous. So yeah, I'm very excited to keep up with this choreography journey. I have some really fun stuff planned, especially for spring dance. I'm gonna get another piece adjudicated, and I have some really exciting things planned that I hope it gets into the piece or into the show, and I'm like very excited about it. So yeah, let's kind of review what we talked about today. This episode was a bit of a rabbit hole, but I had a really good time filming it. So let's kind of talk about it. Work-life balance. You know, a lot of us work as dance teachers. You know, it helps us hone our craft. It helps us become good teachers. A lot of us want to own studios or companies when we get out of school. You know, in the future, I would love to be the artistic director of a company, you know. So I think teaching now is a really great tool for me. And the biggest thing about teaching is being open to new ideas. Like, dancers and performers love their routines, like we talked about. But being open to new ideas and new challenges is one of the biggest blessings that teaching has given me, as it has been, you know, teaching constantly changes. You have new students, you have old students, you have, you know, you're teaching new styles, and always growing as a teacher also helps you continually grow as a dancer. You know, because then you start to realize what you like in the room and what you don't like in the room, and then you can bring that energy when you are a student, you know, and it all kinds of works together. And also using your ability and passion for dance to bring that to other people. That's also been a really big part of teaching for me. I love, love, love teaching the littles because I love seeing the next generation of this art that I love so much. When I was a kid, my first dance teacher ever, Heather Sparks, and Maddie Gardner. Maddie Gardner was a student at the studio, and she was like a senior. Well, she was like in high school and then like, you know, whatever, graduated. I looked up to them so much, like so much. And I fully believe that the reason that I love dance and I'm still in dance is because they took such great care of me in my very first like baby classes. And I want to not only be that for my students, but also raise them up in an art that is safe and loving and welcoming and happy and healthy. And if I can be that example of a strong woman that is happy and healthy and allows my students autonomy, you know, stuff that I didn't get as a student, you know, I feel a responsibility as a teacher to make the ballet world that I am bringing my students into, not even just ballet, like dance industry, whether they become professional or not, I feel a responsibility as a teacher to keep them safe and keep them happy and healthy and not let them go through the things that I went through, you know? And, you know, that's just something very important to me. And I think that that is really what drives my teaching, you know, rising up the next generation, building them up, making them safe, making it happy and healthy. Because when we are long gone, they're our legacy. Not to get really deep and dramatic, but, like, they are the next generation of dance. Whether we really want to get that deep or not, you know, and rising them up and keeping them safe and healthy is so critical to me. And I feel a really big responsibility for that, which is also why I think, circling back, we talked about self-care is so important, because not only are you literally working out 40 hours a week with your classes and your teaching and your rehearsals, but that's a lot of emotional work, you know. Taking class every morning is emotional work. You're in the mirror all the time. You're rehearsing. You have school. You have friends. You have a lot of things to balance, and that's a lot of emotional work you really got to, like, put through. And that's kind of a really big thing is, you know, leaning into that self-care, finding that work-life balance, finding what you prioritize and sticking to your guns about it as well is also critical. Like for me, it's my bedtime. We talked about that. But absolutely just finding what's good for your body and what keeps you in that tip-top shape that you like to be in that whatever the level you like to perform at, not like on stage, but like work and teach and take class and yada yada, whatever work you like to, in parentheses, perform, work at, you know, you just got to find what keeps you at that level and what makes you happy and comfy at that level. So, yeah, I think that's all for the podcast. This one, like I said, was a little rambly, but I had a really good time, and I hope you have a good time listening to it. I love teaching and trying out new things, and it's been a really great journey and a really great job for me, and I think I find it all very helpful for my career. So I love teaching. If you have any questions about teaching or choreography, I'm so glad I got to shed some light on Sherry Wine. I loved working on that piece, like, so much. I think when I start choreographing for spring, I think I want to do a series on my YouTube channel about, like, the choreography process and kind of make maybe a little documentary or something silly and goofy like that. But we'll see. As always, the video versions of these podcasts come out on Tuesday on my YouTube channel at Taylor Hartman, and the audio version on Spotify comes out on Wednesdays at BFA Baby Podcast on Spotify. It actually might I think it's just BFA Baby, but then you go under the podcast tab. The Instagram for the podcast is BFA Baby Podcast, and you can follow me for all my personal little dancey dances at Tata's Ballet, periods between words. We have some very exciting episodes and special guests coming up, so I cannot wait to keep you on this podcast, keep you on this journey with me. It's going to be so good, and it's only up from here. Chase your dreams, guys, and I'll see you next time.